2014. Sony Pictures Entertainment, one of Hollywood's biggest film studios, became the victim of a devastating cyber attack. Hackers stole confidential emails, employee records, financial documents, even unreleased movies. Soon, thousands of internal files were leaked across the internet. The attack disrupted the company, caused enormous financial losses, and became one of the most talked about cyber incidents in history. Whenever we hear stories like this, one question comes to mind. How do hackers break into large organizations? Do they guess passwords? Do they write sophisticated viruses? Sometimes yes, but sometimes a hacker only needs a simple website and a vulnerable database query. That attack is called SQL Injection. Today, let's understand how it works. Welcome to the Chauhan Explains, where complex cybersecurity concepts become simple, visual, and easy to understand. Let's uncover one of the most dangerous web vulnerabilities ever discovered. Meet Ria. She owns a successful online clothing store. Customers can register, log in, search for products, place orders. Business is going well. Thousands of customers visit her website every day. One evening, a hacker visits the website. He doesn't try to guess the administrator's password. He doesn't launch malware. Instead, he clicks on the login page. Most users enter username Rahul, password mypassword123. The hacker does something different. He enters specially crafted input instead of a normal username. Then he clicks login. Within seconds, the website begins behaving strangely. The attacker can suddenly view customer information, modify records, delete data, or even log in without knowing a password. How is that possible? Behind almost every website is a database. Think of it as a giant digital cupboard. Inside it are usernames, passwords, email addresses, orders, products, payment information. Whenever you log in, the website asks the database a question. Something like, does this username and password belong to a real user? The database checks and replies, yes or no. Simple. Unless the website asks the question incorrectly. The database doesn't understand English. It understands a language called SQL, which stands for Structured Query Language. Websites use SQL to find users, store information, update records, delete data. Think of SQL as the language a website uses to communicate with its database. Imagine you go to a restaurant. The waiter asks, what would you like to order? You say, 1 burger. The waiter writes exactly that. Now imagine someone says, 1 burger and also serve me every meal in the kitchen. If the waiter blindly writes everything without checking whether it's an order or an instruction, chaos follows. That's exactly what SQL injection is. Instead of treating user input as ordinary text, the website accidentally treats it as a database command. The database follows those instructions because it thinks they came from the website itself. The hacker never talks directly to the database. The vulnerable website unknowingly becomes the messenger. If a website is vulnerable, SQL injection can allow attackers to read customer information, bypass login pages, change account details, delete important records, create administrator accounts. In severe cases, take control of the back-end database. One vulnerable query can expose millions of records. SQL injection isn't just a concept from textbooks. It has been responsible for major real-world incidents. In 2015, attackers exploited an SQL injection vulnerability in TalkTalk, one of the UK's largest telecom companies. They gained access to customer information, affecting approximately 157,000 customers. The incident resulted in major financial losses, regulatory penalties, and significant damage to the company's reputation. One insecure database query was enough to cause nationwide headlines. Fortunately, modern developers have effective defenses. The most important is parameterized queries, also called prepared statements. Instead of mixing user input with SQL commands, the application keeps them separate. Other protections include input validation, stored procedures, allow list validation, least privileged database accounts, web application firewalls, WAFs. These measures make SQL injection much harder to exploit. As a user, you can't prevent SQL injection on someone else's website. That's the developer's responsibility. But you can reduce the impact of data breaches by using strong, unique passwords, enabling multi-factor authentication, monitoring your accounts for unusual activity, avoiding password reuse across websites. Today, you learned that some of the biggest cyber incidents don't begin with advanced malware. Sometimes, they begin with a single database query that trusts user input too much. That's the danger of SQL injection. But here's another question. What if a hacker doesn't attack the database and doesn't inject any code? What if they simply steal your active login session and become you? That's exactly what we'll uncover in the next episode, Session Hijacking. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the Chauhan Explains. Until next time, stay curious, stay secure, and remember, in cybersecurity, even one line of insecure code can have consequences for millions of users.